Recording. So I just usually say, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming along and having a look at an LMS system of training for organisations with NDIS and home care supports. My name's Gina Ingrell. I run a consultancy called Effective Policy and another business called Effective Learning. And I have a 35-year history in health and human services, which is getting a bit scary to say now. I started off as an oral health clinician, but for the last 22 years now, I have been in human services, drug and alcohol, mental health, disability, and from the policy unit in government to a frontline staff member when I first worked in this field in 2000. So I've kind of seen a lot, as well as that corrections and hospital, private sector, the public sector, the NGO sector. I've got the, I guess my quality and compliance stems because I'm an auditor as well for the NDIS and for the Health and Community Service Standards. But I guess my experience is quite well-rounded and often framed not just with program design and quality of that systems, developing systems to make things safer and make life easier. I've always pictured it like the manager when I first became a manager in, I think, 2004 of a drug and alcohol unit. I thought, how can I make this easier for me? You know, and it was, apart from the fact that I loved my work and I loved really good outcomes, I wanted to make it easier for me. And quality just does that because it's systemizing. And so I don't want to work hard. I want to work smarter. So, you know, anything I can do to, it's not find a shortcut, but find a system where things are a part of business as usual instead of something that you have to step outside of your normal day to do. So that's where I'm about, and that's where most of what I talk about comes from. So what we want to talk about is, if you look at, this is about learning management and about helping your organisations to do better and be better and be able to be compliant and meet their obligations under the standards. Of course, it goes further than that. We all don't want to do harm. I mean, number one, if that's not on your number one list, it should go to number one. Number one, we don't want to do harm to people who have already, for the most part, had a lot of harm done to them. So we want people safe. We want our staff safe. There's a liability point of view from that. So for me as a manager, when I first was a CEO answering to a board, I don't want to go to that board and say, oops, I've made a mistake. We're getting sued for, X amount of money, even though we were insured for it. I think the first time that happened, and we do make mistakes to learn things, the first time that a staff member, got a payout from us and for us to move them on because they were unsuitable, I really learned I'll never have that happen again. And so I put things in place. What do I see as an assessor and a consultant and even as a manager over the last 22 years in human services? Where there are the most incidents and complaints are the most inexperienced staff. And so what we want to do is turn that around. We want to build the capability of the workforce. Now, we've got a workforce in NDIS and home care where you've got a lot of attrition and you've got a lot of moving. And so you're constantly going to be training new staff to make up for the attrition that you're going to get. So we have to just get used to that and have some really good systems in place to do that and to keep the others learning. The other part of that is that we need to find out where people are not able to learn. For example, one of the biggest things that I see is you can have people trained at times from TAFE or something in medication management. They'll come to you, they've got these competencies, but for the life of you, you can't understand why they put an EpiPen into somebody's leg who was having a panic attack. So, we've got some logic and some lacking in places. We've got to identify that. We've got some critical reasoning, which we don't even expect that with a support worker at that level, but we do need to teach that if we want to reduce these incidents, complaints, adverse events, and increase the quality of service, the reputation of your business, and therefore your turnover, and the ability to be around for the long haul. So there's a lot of things to look at here. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, if we go back to, and I don't know who's been around for a long time in the room and who is new to the NDIS, new to human services, but it's unheard of before the NDIS that anyone should start a job without being onboarded properly. It was unheard of. It would be the exception, not the rule, in the NGO sector who used to do this work, to find that somebody had not been inducted well. Today, however, with the way that the regulations are so lax, and in an environment of what I call butcher one day, NDIS provider the next, and that's not meant to be insulting. It's just a description of where we've got to here. And I say, accept it. It's how it is until it's not like that anymore. We've probably got 60%, 70% of NDIS providers who've never had any experience in this field at all, and then hiring people who have never had any experience in this field. So I just am a pragmatic person. Let's accept that, let's deal with it, and what do we do about that? So we train and we induct and we continue to do that and measure, people's knowledges, etc. Now, also in the NDIS world, because it is consumer directed, there's a package of money that goes with each person. It's not like you have an entire group, your entire cohort needs a particular service. You may have a participant that comes in with a particular need, and for that reason, you will address the gaps in knowledge of your staff relating to that particular participant. You could go for 3 years as an NDIS provider or a home care provider, never being introduced to restrictive practice, and suddenly you start getting a person with a restrictive practice, and it's time to learn. So it's an emerging process as well. So it's time to learn, and it's time to get registered for restrictive practice use. So it's an interesting area at the moment. So let's have a look first. So first we can bounce into training, or we can do it strategically. So strategically, I would say, and I'll share my screen with you in 2 secs. You've got to know what you don't know with your people before you start training them. With the exception of, everybody should get an onboarding induction process, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. So if I am to, for example, onboard somebody, and I do this as a regularly, and I might add, it says in the practice standards for the NDIS and for aged care, whether it's home care or residential care, doesn't matter. It says this has to be done. This is something that needs to be done. You need to know what it is that your staff know or don't know. So I'm going into employee management at the moment. I'm going to pull out a very, very simple training needs analysis, which is outlined in the which the using of is outlined in the practice standard. So I'm going to open that for you. We're going to just start very briefly with that, because sometimes you're going to have people who have already got a certificate somewhere else, because we've got this attrition. We've got people moving into different areas with different services. So ask first, has your person completed some of the particular mandatory areas? Because they're going from provider to provider. It's a recycling of people. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now, and I just want to show you a simple training needs analysis which should be done when you onboard a staff member, and at the time when you're doing a performance appraisal, which needs to be done annually. So my share screen, and the form I want to show you, which forms part of an onboarding process. You can have it in any design, you can automate it if you've got those tools, etc. But at the end of the day, what you want to have is a system that can't be missed in your onboarding package, which talks about, well, what do we know to be a mandatory piece of knowledge that your support workers have? Well, I can tell you from the practice standards, of course, nobody can work for the NDIS no matter what your role is. If you haven't done the NDIS Commission Worker Orientation module, everybody needs to know what the incident management, the NDIS Code of Conduct, complaints management, privacy, infection control now in the new release of the standards has now become mandatory. You can throw in participant rights and responsibilities. Depending on the services that you deliver and the clients you have would depend on whether you would move over to some other training, which is behaviour support levels 1, 2, and 3, catheter care. These are here for an example. Yours might look different. Your other training may be different. This is just an indicative kind of way of showing it. Now, these days, pretty much, if you've got people with anaphylaxis, your staff should be trained in anaphylaxis awareness. Now we've also got another mandatory, which is responding to an emergency in a pandemic. So now we've created just a short module on responding to an emergency, which is intended for support workers, but there's a little bit in there for managers as well. So everybody has a different role in that. So here we've just listed a whole range of things which may or may not suit you. You would tailor this to suit the service that you're delivering. If you were a verification level service delivering lawns and cleaning, etc., yours is going to look very different to the services that are delivering allied health, for example, only allied health, and that's going to look very different to the service that's delivering supported independent living. So it's all developed based on your service delivery, but also if you've got a core module, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day, they're a support coordinator, lovely business, but we don't do mealtime stuff. And I went, yeah, I get that you don't, your coordination of supports, you're referring, etc. But the core module that you got registered under says mealtime management. So that means you're obliged to show your knowledge of it and have a policy for it. There's no exceptions. It doesn't say in the core module standards, everybody registered for a core module except support coordinators don't have to do this. So everybody does need to have these. So if you've got a core module, there's a set of knowledges and trainings that need to be done, and some have to be revisited every year. So now that's just touching on that you need. For me, I wouldn't operate without a benchmark. The benchmark is, what have you got? What do you know? Have you got these certificates? Show me. Oh, great. Now we don't have to do that again. So you'll find a lot of the workers that are coming around and being recycled, they've got to have NDIS Commission Worker Orientation. So you don't have to give them that. They may have already done some of this training somewhere else. So ask them if they've got it first, because it'll certainly save you time. Other times people might go, you know what? It doesn't matter whether they've got it or not. I want them to do mine. I want them to do it here with me. I'm going to put them through it again, and that is completely up to you as well. So now I'm going to just share screen and we're going to have a look at our platform. So I'll just reshare and we'll pop over to I'll share the whole screen and then I can jump around. Okay. So let me know if you are seeing something called, you'll see the words course catalog there. Can you do a bit of a thumbs up if that's what you're seeing? Thumbs up, good. I love a bit of a thumbs up. Okay, so this is my baby. This is my learning management system. It's a platform. We've created a dummy. Ali has created a dummy demo branch here. There's a couple of ways people can access the induction and training courses that we produce. Number one, you can do it as just an as needs basis. So you might say, like I have a lot of clients that have small businesses and they just will be onboarding someone or a couple of people and they'll go, can we have a couple of mandatory modules, please? $59.95. And, we do set what we know to be mandatory modules, but we're very happy to let you have, 14 We advise about the mandatory stuff, and then we let you choose depending on your service needs. So, 14 courses go into inductions, go into a mandatory module selection, and we don't care really which ones they are. We'll give you some advice around which ones probably don't suit that. And then, sometimes we'll have someone say, well, they've been here for a while now, can we have the supplementary modules, please? Which is a whole other group of course, inductions and training. So there's induction and training, two different things. The induction really takes them through the policy and procedure and what's expected of them. And the training is, of course, what you would expect it to be, training and developing skills. But in the induction, they still develop skills because they're being asked questions at the end or during their process. So, and one of the most interesting things I think was this one, of people not knowing their policies and procedures is the biggest issues I find are what's the cause of them? They don't know their position description and they don't know the policy and procedure. It's so not rocket science sometimes when I've gone into I've had someone, we're just in so much trouble, we can't this, we can't that. And I start with the really simple stuff. Have you got a policy and procedure on that? No, but okay, all right. Can I see these people's position descriptions? Oh, we haven't quite finished them yet. Da-da, it's not rocket science. So, if people are, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And of course, you're going to have issues with that. So what they learn from doing the inductions is good. And, you've got that peace of mind that they have completed it. And that, we do forget, and there are some things we should do annually. For example, I would want every one of my staff to know what a reportable incident is and be able to recite it. And why? Because I've no faith or confidence that they would be able to pick one or let you know there is one if they can't even say what a reportable incident is. So as much as people think, I don't want lots of incidents or lots of complaints, I am much more fearful of walking into a service where there is no complaints and no incidents and they've been running for more than 6 months. Because this is not the area where you don't get complaints and you don't get incidents. Now, it's nice to just have minimal ones, and I can see that some providers are really good operators, but having a complaint or incident is not a bad thing. Incidents means you're recording the things that aren't going right. Now, if you've got an excess of those, of course there's issues. And if you've got an excess of complaints, of course there are issues. But we can't say that, there's no one size fits all for that. So it's case by case, but I'm always frightened when there's none. I usually find out that it means that they don't actually understand what a complaint is, or that they didn't know what an incident is. So that's interesting. So you want people to know the basics. So coming back to here, so we talked about, we have people buying just the onboarding when they need it. And then we have, I think I have 14 or 15 branches now where people have their own LMS. I am able to give a slice of mine, which gives you your autonomy, which gives you administration rights to your own, and you get all of my intellectual property with that, which is all my training courses. But the even better part, well, I don't know if it's even better, but the really good part is that you get to, you can use lots of LMSs. I know there's lots of aged care channels and there's the OzMed and that, but you can use this for yourself as well. So not only do you get our intellectual property, which we keep updated according to the changes, or even when we think we've seen something better, but you get to be able to write your own. So for example, no two organizations are going to have the same work health safety walkthrough, are they? Everyone's going to be different. You've all got different, for example, offices, you've all got different ways you want them to work from home. You've all got different supported independent living houses or SDA houses, etc. You've all got different processes. You can write your own course from here. And I'm, at the moment we're on a real campaign of updating and putting new courses on, because we're doing home care stuff as well. So we're sort of trying to turn out 2 or 3 a week at the moment in the home care area to get that library really looking good. I talk a lot, I know, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to groups for a second. And we've just made, and this is the sort of homepage. Welcome to this. What am I doing wrong here, Ali? I'm just wanting to go straight to groups and it's saying you need to be logged in. Well, I am logged in. Let's have a wee look at the course catalogue and then I'll come back to that. So it is categorized. We are updating it at the moment. So, you know, we've got NDIS and then home care, and then we'll have courses separated that will be, so you'll know they are credible for NDIS or home care. So we'll have NDIS separate, home care separate, and then we'll have, you know, you can use them for either. So multi-purpose. We also do, because I've got a passion for learning, what I saw was, like I said, if you can do a competency in medication management and you can still put an EpiPen into someone's leg when they're having a panic attack, this is a sort of problem that we see. And it's an understanding problem. So we've got some micro learning stuff, which is which tackles the building critical thinking skills, building logic. We have training that addresses social media. If you've got someone new starting, or you're new, if you're a new owner of a business, you are doing everything yourself. You may not have a good understanding of social media or customer service. I've had people say, look, they're really good, do their work well, but they're so inappropriate with customers. So there's some customer service that learning. There's another thing that we say, that the most important element we're looking for in support workers these days is not a certificate 3. We're looking for empathy and emotional intelligence. Now, to a degree, it can be learned. It can be learned. And so we have some training in here, micro skills, which are addressing the development of empathy, understanding when you're not displaying empathy, understanding how to build your emotional intelligence. So, which also helps for staff who tend to cause a bit of friction in the workplace, I suppose you might say. A lot of workplace employment essentials as well. So I moved off the content of the NDIS and home care for the moment to say, well, sometimes the capacity needs to be built as well as giving the true content in the subject matter. So there's a bunch of stuff that helps you to do that as well. Now, I will also add that taking a branch, you can use these courses. Do you know the highest number of people that are going into support work? There's a cohort of group people with disabilities, people who are on the NDIS. So whether or not you're an employment, you know, a finding and keeping a job employee, or you're really just using, you know, you're helping people to build their community access, their social and economics, you know, life capabilities. Some of these courses, there's a lot of courses in here that will build their skills and can be built through the plan. So it's got a multi-function use. So I have clients that actually access these. I am now partnered with this wonderful provider in Melbourne who's going to be all over Australia, and their thing is finding and keeping a job in a big way. And we'll be using a lot of this with their clients as well. And there's just a lot of skills to be learned from here. So let's go back to the NDIS stuff for a second, and we'll go to, and Ali, I want to go back to, well, I don't know why I'm on a home page. You know? So this is your home page here. So I've made up this organization, My Life Chances. There you go. That's where you'd normally see the effective policy logo if you're on my actual site. But I am wondering why it wants me to log in. Well, I'll log in again. I don't mind. Here we are. This is what you'd see as a branch manager. So if I gave you, instead of, you decided, oh, you know, maybe I might try just buying some onboarding when I need it, or you go, no, I really could benefit from having that learning management system of my own. This is what it would look like if you logged into that. This is where we add users. and this is where we add courses. And the reason you can add a course is, like I said, you can design your own onboardings or anything you like that you want to put people through automated. So what happens is I want to add a user right now. So does somebody want to, you can see there's myself and Ali here now. Somebody want to give me be my user? Somebody want to turn on their microphone and tell me their name and email? Have I got any takers? Or I could just go John Doe if nobody wants to.
I can do it.
Okay.
So first name's Sheena, Sheena.
Yep.
Last name Prasad, Prasad.
Okay. Now with the email address, tell me.
Yep, Sheena Prasad at live.com.
Live.
Yeah, at live.com.
Okay, so what happens here when you add a user is it automatically populates the username. The only problem you're ever going to have is if you've got lots of admins, lots of infos, lots of whatevers, and you know, you're probably not going to have that many in one organization. But then you just sort of customize it in that case. Now, what I always do is I copy this for the first log on, so that I know I don't write in passwords. I know you can look and check, but I just like systems, so they can see what their password is. You can put your photo and the bio up should you wish to. Effective learner type is, and then you can say whether you want people to be emailed or not. This has a message system inside it as well, so you don't have to sort of move to your Outlook or your email program when you're talking to your learners inside. So I'm going to add Sheena. She will get a welcome email. It will let her know what her password is, where to go, how to log in. The other thing with this is we can embed this, we can give you or help you with it if you can't do it yourself. We can embed this into your own website. So what happens is it looks just like another tab on your website, but it will say, you know, ABC NDIS Learning Management System, whatever your business name is. We've made, these are all the individual courses. And as you can see here, for me, I am still in Sheena's profile. And if I want to give her a couple of courses, for example, I'll give her epilepsy. I'm sure she'll make her very happy. And so we add one at a time from here. The other thing we do to automate processes and make it quicker is we make groups. So we have groups of courses and we have groups of people. So your group of people might be all of your support workers, or it might be all of your support workers at Smith Street, or it might be all of your employees. So you make groups so that you can allocate courses, you know, and even messaging about courses, etc. Through here with the groups. We also use the groups for courses. So what we made in advance was, here's how I like to do it. I have made an example of an onboarding group of courses who are not new to the NDIS, and an example of an onboarding group of courses who are new. What would be the difference? Why would I have two separate ones? Can you think of what the difference is in what I'd need to give the people who are new to the NDIS, never worked in the NDIS before? There's absolutely two things that people that come to the NDIS for the first time need to do. One of them is the worker orientation module on the commission site. So I have a gateway to it in there, so you don't have to send them to different places. And I have the COVID training, which is still required on the Department of Health's website. So let's have a look at an example of a person who's never worked in the NDIS and you're going to onboard them. What courses did we give them? Well, we just, everywhere where you see, where it says group member, these are the courses we've put in this cluster. Disaster and emergency management is a 10-minute training, and it is required now. Mealtime management, if you have a core module that you're registered under, mealtime management is required. Fire safety awareness, food safety if you're handling food. For a new person who's never worked in the NDIS, perhaps never been a support worker in their life, the role of the support worker, some privacy, some manual handling, some infection control level 1 and the use of PPE, discrimination, etc. I mean, it's whatever you want in there, you can put in there. None of that is fixed in stone. It's not written in stone. And so when what we're going to do is we're going to add this group of courses to Sheena. So we'll go back to our newest member here. So I have added the group, but now I have to populate the group. So when I just added one, it was simple. It just went into her account. Now I have to hit the plus button again until we get 15 out of 15. Or did I already? Here we go. There we go. So now I've added 15 courses, new NDIS staff member for Sheena. So that's what happens there. So writing a course, say you want to do your onboarding, well, you might want to do a course. You might have a PowerPoint that you've done. You can take a PowerPoint and you can put your PowerPoint up here. So you might have written a PowerPoint for a conference. You might have written a PowerPoint that you onboard people with now. You can put it up here. You can have it automated, click a button, it goes out to people, have a couple of questions at the end to check their understanding. They will get a certificate for doing that. So here we'll have, maybe we'll have Sheena's day 1 onboarding or work health safety, whatever it's going to be. Would select a category. We would add a category in there. You would write what this is about so that it's really clear for you and you don't get a whole lot of courses or instructions up there that you suddenly don't know what they are anymore. Put your photo up there like I have. And then you say, well, do I want this to be certification? Yes, because it's proof. The reason we want certification is it's proof that someone's done the training. And it's nice for a person to have something to show for it. Now, some things may have no expiry and other things are supposed to be done annually. When they talk about now infection control, they are saying they want it repeated in the standards. And the auditors are clamping down on that too, which is interesting. Mealtime management, they want to be done annually. And I think it just makes sense to do complaints and incidents, 10 minutes each. It's no big deal annually. So we would allocate, this would be no expiry because this is one of your own personal onboarding processes. And then we'd go save. And then you could start writing your course and popping up all your content, pictures. So you can add content, web content, video, audio, your presentation, which would be PowerPoint, etc. And you can choose whether it's going to be, you're going to have questions after each page or questions at the end, etc. So you get to do that. Now let's go back to Sheena's profile. So I'll always come back to this home button. So we go back to Sheena's profile here. Sheena's one day, go to my courses. Sheena's onboarding. I think I'm in my own profile, which doesn't matter. It's all the same. So here's my profile. Let's have a look at snapshot. You go, how is my learner going with all of the inductions I gave them? So you get a graphic representation of it, or you can export that as an Excel. You can have another type of infographic as well, which will show you, I've done 78 courses. You can gamify this in terms of encouraging people. So you might have, we would always have points, tickets for the person who accrues the most or finishes as the first group of trainings, or for, really encouraging people to get on and do more training. So this is downloadable as well. Just depends on how you like it. So you can export it as the Excel, you can take it as the graphic. The other thing that this enables you to do is to do reports. If we go back to the home button,
IN is the rail. Sorry, IN 012.
Can someone turn off their
57.
sound? Thank you, instructor. Okay, back to our home button. Adding groups, courses and people, adding users, adding courses, or for your onboarding or anything that you want to. And in the report section, you can report on users, courses, the assignments that are completed. It also provides you with a training matrix for each person, so you can have another graphic representation, which is also downloadable. So together with a sound system of assessing what skills your person has, and look, regardless of whether you use my platform or anyone's platform, just knowing that you on the onboarding of a staff member should be assessing which skills they have, and in context of what services you deliver. And then making sure that whatever way you can, you do ensure that people are getting that skills and knowledge that they need, and ensuring that, if they're lacking in some of the soft skills that are needed as support workers, how can often the case is that you either have very poor work, work results from the person, work outcomes, or you could try helping them to develop some of those skills, because it's a very common theme across support worker cohort that customer service skills may not be up to scratch, empathy may not be in the place that you want it to be, logic and critical thinking is not always in the forefront of their mind. And let's face it, some people will love their job, other people will do it because it's a job. So trying to build some of those skills, trying to target what it is that's a barrier for this person, and put some learning in there. Some of the courses in here, you can have people sit as a group. Like I've recorded workshops that I've run. I usually record, I record every webinar that I run, every piece of training, so that's up there as well. And I think, have I forgotten anything, Ali?
No, I think you've covered it all.
I think it's probably one of the most intuitive and easy to use LMSs that I've ever used. Some of them have been so beyond me that I knew I wouldn't be able to write a course on them. And so I've had to abandon them. So if we go back to our courses, and I always want to hear from people in my branches, what courses are you finding that you need? What are your gaps in knowledge? Yesterday, I said to one of my branch owners, have you got anything that you think, if I just had that course? And it was the managing anger and aggression with clients, because we find that to be quite a common theme, and especially in supported independent living, support workers not having the skills and understanding in dealing with difficult situations. And we want to send people home safe, and we want to have good outcomes for our clients as well. So I think learning is the key. So having a look at this, you're looking at it from my sort of back end point of view. And when your staff log in, they don't see that. They'll see it. They'll see whatever you give them. They won't see every course. I'm looking at this as a learner, but that's because, I've already got all these courses, access to these courses. So they will only have open to their, they'll only be able to access what you put in their profile. Like I just put some in Sheena's profile. So we have, we cover off on pretty much everything that's needed, and we just keep growing as well. So, and very open to course suggestions. So I think if I've covered off on the importance of the training needs analysis and the follow-up with the training needs analysis at your performance review, and even the follow-up of the training needs analysis when there's incidents and issues for staff, or they become performance issues. This particular learning management system integrates with Zoom. It integrates with that other one called Web, trying to think of what, Web GoTo as well. It integrates with that. It integrates with an HR software called Bamboo HR. So they amalgamate together. So the reports that you get from this you can put them straight into your Excel spreadsheet if that's what you're keeping, or you can just keep them separately in these Excel spreadsheets. I personally have them all, every single staff member with a different tab. The support workers like to take their certificates because they can take them from job to job. You can generate discussions in here. You can run your own live events in here because you integrate with Zoom as well, and record it and put it on there. If you're running events, you can record yours and put them on there as well. I think that's about it. Has anyone got any questions about workforce? Do I have a general corporate type courses? Do you have general corporate type courses applicable to any employee? Like, oh yeah, there is some of that. Yeah, so let's have a look down here in our HR. Go back to course catalog. Go as an administrator. So we've got, what did I do? What have I done? So let's have a look. If we're having a look for, we've got employment essentials. Yeah, back here. Sorry, I do get a little lost sometimes, but that's just me. Employment essentials. I get lost in my own house. Human resource, 28 here. So we've got HR essentials. We've got sexual harassment, drug and alcohol abuse, anti-bribery, anti-shooter, code of conduct. That's a general code of conduct. We already have the NDIS and the home and the aged care code of conduct, but that's a general one. We've got conflict of interest. We've got conflict of interest NDIS specific as well as general. Equality, diversity and inclusion. Bias, privilege, gender inclusion, LGBTQ awareness and inclusion. What are the types? So they really delve deeply into a lot of the human resource stuff. It also has manager training, project manager training, data analysis training, lots of upskilling for managers, in fact, flexible and remote working, HR for non-HR. And I mean, a lot of people who are working in HR with their own business now are from, you know, not from this background. And so it's just a way to really upskill. A lot of work health safety, data analysis, cybersecurity. So did we actually look for bullying? There we are, bullying and violence. Any other questions? Does this? Yes, it works on mobile phones. It works on tablets and laptops and desktops. Now, Ali, you know the browsers that this is best on and the one that it doesn't work on. Can you tell us that?
Yeah, so it just works best on Google Chrome or Firefox. It does work on Safari, but you might experience a few issues. So I would recommend using it only on Google Chrome or Firefox.
Thank you, Ellie. And so the personal development stuff's good. It's got some really good stuff for it's stressy staff. So it's got some really good mindfulness, which is also good for participants as well. So there's sorry, go on.
Hi, Gina. Just a quick question on medication management.
Yep.
So once a carer does the medication management module, how does it then interface with the a competency?
Okay, so I'm not an RTO yet, and I can't award a competency. We are in the process of becoming an RTO. We want to provide all of those particular competencies, but at the moment, what we do, I use the actual VET sector competency, and I give a manual with it as well. But we can't award the competency. So as an auditor, if we were to make everybody have that competency, the NDIS providers would be out of business because of the money it would cost you. And we all know that. So we want to make sure that there's been some training. We can see proof of that training, and that you repeat that training, maybe annually, and we're fine with it. I mean, my clients go, and I've got clients going to audit constantly, and it's really lovely. I'm getting, I had this comment the other day from one of the audit companies that said, we just love it when we see that they've come from you, and when we see those certificates, we have some confidence that they know what they're doing. And one of my clients rang up and said, I can believe it. She said to me, we know effective policies. I actually just did one last week. I don't even have to read them. Your certificate, it was just so lovely to have that they've done audits on my clients for so long, that they know the policies inside and out. It doesn't mean I don't get recommendations. I do, and that's what it's all about. That's what quality improvement is. I may have opportunities for improvement in my policies, and that's how they grow. My policies grow that way, as do my courses. So I wouldn't, I can't, we've never had any problems, but I am working towards becoming an RTO, and I want to be able to provide all of those module 1 competencies as well, which the competencies that are actually written in the VET sector. Not each one of those high intensity personal activities are actually available as a competency yet, but for those of them that are, I want to be able to provide those, and a whole range of other competencies as well. But like I said, I think we all recognize that this person, and it's not the first time, that had the competency in medication management. If you're sticking an EpiPen into someone's leg because they're having a panic attack, something didn't work right. So I just want to bring back some real classic training into this sector, like it was when I first started. When we went to TAFE, when I did TAFE before I did uni, when we went to TAFE, we had to turn up to TAFE, and we didn't have recognition of prior learning, and we didn't have credit stuff. We had to do the work, and there is such a big difference between, here's another tip: look around at the people that come to you with their qualifications. There is a number of bodies that do all the RPLs, and I don't believe that most people are actually doing those RPLs themselves. I think that they're having somebody else write them for them, and I think that explains why the person who had this competency in their as part of their qualification didn't know a thing about it. So I know that Spectrum Training are responsible for a lot of RPL, but if you look around, Skills Certified as well, but I think they do community services. Have a look at the provider, because it will show you who's got RPL and didn't actually attend the training. And there's
So I'm just as an auditor, how would you rate with a start with carers completing the modules online, and having a registered nurse observe their practices?
That's what we like. That's what I say. So what I say is do the assist with medication that I've got, which takes them through a few scenarios which are in the manual that they'll download, which is the TAFE manual. And then I say to them, and then even if you don't have to have an RN, it can be an RN, an EN, or an EEN, or it can be a person in your workplace who has done that competency in person, right? So we don't mind who it is, just have somebody assess annually. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you know what?
I would prefer a registered nurse or an EN, but yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
You don't need one, but yeah, that's fine. It's good to do. It's good to aim high, but all we require is somebody with that competency.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, they have to have that competency.
Yeah, to do the assessment in your workplace. Yeah, but let me tell you this too, we'll still let people through because we see so many with no training. We are thrilled to see someone with some.
Yeah,
That's where we've got to with that's where we've got to with the demand for staff in the home care and NDIS sector, and the inability for providers to be able to pay out those enormous amounts of money to keep them trained. Like, we've got such a turnover of staff. If we said non-conformity to everybody, there would be no staff. Yeah. So we've had to kind of, you know, we have to think logically ourselves. We have to use our critical thinking.
Yeah. And how about manual handling? Do you have any modules on manual handling?
Yes, we have general manual handling, and we have service delivery manual handling. So there's one in here on why is it not coming up under that? It's actually, it was in the mandatory one. Remember when we looked at the group? I'll show you. I think it'll be in all of these courses. So manual handling, there's manual handling, and we have a manual handling that is non-service delivery specific. So for people working in office as well as that. We have an infection control level 2 as well, which talks more, which goes into what's really important as well after absorbing level 1, which the level 2 goes into antibacterial, bacterial resistance and how we play a part in either making that worse or making that safer.
And it does it include the donning and doffing somewhere?
Infection control level 1 has the donning and doffing.
Okay, all right, now that's good. My other question in regards to similar to medication management with the manual handling, obviously there needs to be some competency-based training as well. So what's the go at the moment with the auditors? You know, is it an expectation that they do this module as well as competency based, or you know?
We're not holding anyone to the competency base at the moment because you know, we would have no staff if we did that. We would have providers would be in crisis. So we just want to see that they've had some.
Okay, and that's across New South Wales, across national?
Australia.
Okay,
Across
perfect.
Australia. Yeah, and you know, once I can become an RTO and start to offer it at a more reasonable price, the actual competency, I think, you know, maybe other people will follow suit as well, but I can't predict what other people will do. But definitely, these have no problem at all. Yeah, and you would do that annually, and I would do that annually to protect my bottom line. Because the first thing in a workplace issue is they're going to say, how often are they, you know, attending manual handling? So just what is the recommendation, annually or? Well, it's my recommendation.
Okay, now that's good.
From a work cover point of view, I like people to do manual handling, complaints, incidents, and code of conduct. They can never get enough of that.
And just the last one, on documentation. So basic documentation. So is there one for carers?
Oh, well, what we've got is case notes,
Yep.
writing case notes.
Yeah.
So that's a beauty. I like that. I did that. And were you referring to any other kind of documentation? I do have one about quality improvement, which talks about, you know, how the document, you know, what you would do with quality, you know, what you would do in managing quality and the, you know, role that a support worker might have in contributing to reporting things like that.
Yeah, quality, I'm okay with the quality. I'm just, I think it'll be really good for the carers to understand, you know, what goes in a case note.
Yes, it is. And that's why I did it. Most of this has come from seeing things in audit. And so, that's not going where I want it to go. I was just trying to show you the course. Yes, so it's really thorough. It goes through the legislation. It goes through a few scenarios as well. So yeah, we think it's pretty good.
Okay, all right.
Any other courses anyone want to ask if I've got? I also have English can be a bit of a problem sometimes. So we do have some English courses in there as well. You know, you got your anaphylaxis and things like that, epilepsy. Everything is assessment based, so everything has questions. Except I think you'll find the copies of my workshops. There's no point in us asking you questions when you've got a 4-hour workshop that you've just done. It's really for knowledge. And I do encourage people to maybe sit down and watch them with their entire staff, so you're all getting the benefit from it. A lot of audit preparedness. Every time I do an audit preparedness webinar, I stick it up there. Some governance. I talk a lot about governance. Yeah, there's a couple of things that address governance in there. If anyone wants to have a trial, 7-day trial, please let us know. I know a couple of you have already taken up the 7-day trial, and if either of you are here in the meeting today and you want a little bit of one-on-one with Ali or myself, please let us know, and we'll spend some time with you. If anybody else wants a 7-day trial of the actual LMS branch, please let us know and we'll set you up. And just have a play. Yeah, have a go and see if you find it user-friendly. I'll just think there might be a question in here. Okay, lovely, thank you. We'll organise that for you. Pricing.
Hi, Gina. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Quickly, anything that we upload in terms of training resources like PowerPoints, like you mentioned before, does that automatically become your intellectual property, or it stays ours? Okay,
that remains yours, and nobody else will use it.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so what you put up there is for you. We won't touch it. Now, just show you the pricing, which you can find on my website. Just going there now. And once we get to, you know, large amounts, and I do have people with large amounts, we have some specific ways of kind of trying to bring that price down. So I'm just training. That's my catalog. Ali, help me.
Do you mean the purchase training tab?
Yeah. Not the
it's not
purchase
in the
training,
little
that'll
drop
go
down.
straight. See this, I'll show you. This is how you connect it to, this is my website. So you just click on purchase training and it takes you to all my products here. Oh, okay. I'm just trying to find here. Here. Sorry. I mean, I get lost. So here's the pricing. So you can either go pay as you go. You can take 1 to 10 users at $2.50 a month, and you just have access to everything. And, you know, we're there to support you. And once you get sort of 55 and above, we start having kind of bespoke kind of packages where we show you how to recycle users and things like that. So, you know, if you're interested, let us know. Some of the things this does, the custom reports, access anytime. We have a 24-hour getting back to you turnaround. You know, that just helps us over the weekend. Usually we're contactable earlier than that. You get to use everything that's on there. It's got team chat, inbuilt messaging, scheduling with your calendars, etc. for your staff. It's got a help function in there, which is brilliant. It's got videos in there, and that's if we're not around to help you. It integrates with Zoom, Teams, GoToWebinar. We love it. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And if there's anything we can do to help, if you ever have any suggestions for training that you think, you know, we should write, let us know.
Thank you, Gina.
Pleasure. Thanks for coming along. We appreciate it. It was my pleasure. Thank you. You can see the chat, Ali, can't you?
Yes.
So we'll set that one up. Will you do that for me?
Yes, I can. I just will need to get their email.
I guess we should set up a new one for each person. Otherwise, we don't want people. It's we don't want people being able to see other users on there. That's not good. In terms of, you know, yeah, we'll just do a new trial branch for everyone if they don't take the branch. Thank you so much, Monine. Thanks, Fiona. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Jazzy. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, Gina. Yeah, sorry, Gina. Just on this pricing, where did you see those pricing on your website? I'm just on the website now that I've found you.
Yeah.
Where was it?
It's called the purchase training page.
Purchase policies?
No, purchase training.
Oh, purchase training. Yeah.
Yeah, I always get lost.
And then
right down the bottom, it goes.
Okay, right, gotcha. Okay, right, yeah.
So you can just go. Yeah, people they all have different preferences. Some just like to purchase as they go, and others want the LMS and keep that training rolling out, you know, and especially also put your own up there.
Yeah, so can I just so we're only a small organisation, 15 or so employees, that's all.
Yep.
And $350 a month, you know, adds up obviously $4,000 or a bit over $4,000 a year. So that's quite a lot. Does that include GST or GST?
It doesn't, but we can always figure out something,
Yeah.
you know, to your affordability.
The other question is, let's say there are, I asked a question before around you know, corporate training. I'm looking at.
Can you speak closer to the microphone for me, Mark?
Sorry. We do disability work, and we're also a CHSP provider.
Okay.
And what I'm particularly interested in is the like the corporate type things that would apply to, and we also run a community cafe. So,
nice.
So anything that any staff member would want to do. So they need to know about bullying and harassment and WHS and manual handling and discrimination and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So if I take up the trial and have a good look at all the courses that are in it when I can actually find a bit of time to devote to it, because that's what I need to do. The trial is not very long at 7 days, so it doesn't give me a lot of time to.
That's okay. We can extend it. That's fine.
No
Take your time. You can have a month if you want. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So my question is though, so I just had a very quick scan and I thought, oh yeah, there was a course, whatever the course was, it cost $36.95.
No, it doesn't cost you guys. That's just the price because people buy this from a public portal as well.
Right.
Doesn't cost you. If you take a branch, you don't pay any more than what
you know, no, I understand that. My
Oh.
cost would be whatever is negotiated cost for the people who are using it. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. No, but if we didn't take the branch and
Yep.
just said, I just want to buy 10 courses.
Yep.
So that's me paying $365 or whatever the number is for whatever course to 10 courses I want, 10 lots of $36, whatever it is. That just means I've downloaded a course and I can then go say to my staff, you need to go and do this course now. Here's the link to it where I've put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And they just do it and I can do it as many times as I like. Is that how that works?
Yes. Look, and there's a couple of ways you can do that. There's a cheap way and there's the way that we do the admin for you. So when you looked at that course and it said $36 and if you bought 10, then we would set you up. We would do the admin and we'd set you up. Now you can do it cheaper than that if you want to. I can show you how.
So just hang on. So if I've got, let's assume I've got 10 employees. Can I just buy, am I buying one course or is it one course per
You've got to
person?
keep you're talking near the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Is it one course per person?
Yes.
Like if I have,
because they get assessed. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd have to buy, for 10 employees, I'd need to buy 10 $36 courses.
Unless, can you see my screen right now with the $12?
Yes.
Okay, unless you do self-serve, which means this is a public portal where everybody can just go in and choose the course that they want. Now,
right.
Yeah, so if you do that, regardless of the price on here, I'll make it cheaper for you if that's what you want to do.
Right.
So all of these inductions, they're all $12, not $36. The reason the one that you're looking at on my website is $36 is because we have to manually do that for you. So you're paying and then we go, right, can we have the 11 email addresses and the names? And then we upload it and then we allocate the courses to them. But if you went through here and we could show you how, so that once you know, you can't unknow it, you could purchase at a much reduced price. You'll just be doing it yourself. It's automated, but you'll be, for example, you would go on and ask your staff to, you might just say, okay, we want to do some training. Can we just pay you? And then your staff just go on there and register themselves and do it. So there's that way, which will cost you less, which is called our public portal. And it's cheaper because we don't have to do anything. Or there's the other one where you purchase, say to us, I want 10 of them. Can you invoice me for that? And then we do the admin. If you've got 10 staff, I just remind me of this, but I would give you a 10% discount. If you've got 10 plus staff, I'll give you a 10% discount on everything. So if you want the admin, which is easier for us to do, easier for you, then I'm happy to do that and give you that discount. And if you wanted to go through this public, I have a lot of people just coming through the public portal and they'll just go, yep, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And they just purchase and then log themselves on. But if that seems like a bit of a hassle for your staff, then fair enough. Like we'll do it the other way and just give you a discount.
Yeah, and okay. So I'd still be buying, if I had 10 staff, I'd have to buy 10 of those courses that I choose to buy.
Yes, because they're assessed. It's an assessment.
They're assessed. That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to do, like, one of the things that I've used an LMS before in a previous organisation, and what we chose to do there was we said, well, actually, we want everyone, for instance, to do the WHS course every year.
Yep.
Because we want to remind them.
That.
Yeah. So I would then have to go and buy another 10 courses next year, because they're going to get reassessed.
If you don't have your own LMS, if you've got your own LMS, see, sometimes it can work out cheaper. It might sound like, and look at it this way. So if you've got 15 people, right? And if you took a 1 to 10, which might be affordable for you, you can use as many courses as many times as you want, right? And you can recycle a user. So for example, let's just say, for argument's sake, you've got 15 people, but 5 of them over that year leave or whatever, however many, well, you're recycling those users, aren't you? But also, let's say you've got 10, you buy 10 users and you've got 15 and then you go to 20 staff. You can, once a person's finished, you download their reports and their certificates, and then you can recycle the user as many times as you want for as many people. The only thing that of benefit, the only thing that you're losing is the graphic that you'll see on when you log on. But if you've already downloaded their stuff, it doesn't matter.
No, that's right. Yeah. And look, and I presume though, so if I've got 15 staff, that if I have a staff member leave and I replace them, is this license a concurrent license?
Oh gosh, yeah, you just recycle it.
Yeah.
So
make that person inactive, create a new person.
Yeah. So if you have 15 staff and you took and I'm encouraging the branch because I reckon you get better value. I really do. If you took the 10, then you put the first 10 through, then the first 5 that finish, you download their certificates, you download their report on the Excel.
Yeah.
And then you just go, right, that's them for now. And then I'll put the next 5 on. So when I first started, I was just a branch of somebody else, and I had 25 users, and I had to just keep recycling.
Yeah.
And it's doable.
Yeah.
And remember that you don't have to pay each time you use. So to some degree, the people that keep wanting to I don't think they're thinking clearly when they keep buying packages off me, because if they just took a few users, they'd be laughing. You know, just being able to use it whenever you want and put your own stuff on there. Like you said that you have this cafe, and my comment was going to be, well, if you give me some of the stuff around the cafe, we'd be happy to make a course and put it up there for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're happy to work. We're happy to collaborate.
Yeah.
So we could make something that's very specific for your cafe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Hi,
thank you.
Gina, I may have missed this bit. When you say recycle, how long does the recycling go for?
Well, once you deactivate or delete that person, they're gone. But you will have already, you wouldn't delete one of your users unless they, first of all, they left your business, or you downloaded all of their certificates and their Excel report. So then you've put them through a series of courses, they've finished, you can go, right, I need to use it for my others. So then once you've got their certificates downloaded and their report, you can just recycle that you can do it ongoing. Those users are not, they're for you to do with what you want. So if you recycle them 100 times, it's okay.
Okay.
You do anything with them you want. The only thing is we just want to make sure that before you rename them, give them to somebody else, we just want to make sure that you've downloaded all your certificates and your Excels.
Yeah.
So you can make that 10 work for you.
Yeah. The question then becomes is, well, for the extra $100 or whatever negotiated price difference, is it worth the effort for to have to keep recycling your staff? It just depends. I mean, I think if you had 11 users, yeah, you could do that. That would be manageable, because it could also be that you might have 11 users, 10 users or 8 users that need the ongoing, and there's 3 cafe people who actually I just want them to do these 3 courses, so I'll buy 3 courses.
Yep.
So and that's more.
We could stretch that to, I mean, what's one user? I could stretch that out to,
I know what you mean. Yeah. So what I need to do from here, Gina, is I need to sign up to the trial.
Have a trial.
And actually have a look through all the individual courses there. Actually look at the courses and do some of them and say, oh, no, this is no good for us. Or, oh, actually, this is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't remember.
And remember that, you know, your cafe might have something specific. So, you know, if you gave me something that you already use in your, you know, a policy for your cafe, I can turn that policy into a learning module.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. So, yeah, okay. So I think the first thing I need to do is actually sign up to the trial and at least have a look at it.
Yeah.
And say, yep, that's going to work for me. It's not going to work for me. Yeah, I really need to see what the courses are available. I mean, the system I used before and what they're like and whether they're going to fit the style of work that I've got and all those sorts of things, because everyone's different in their learning. And
there's a whole bunch of stuff there about learning as well, for people who, you know, don't have a lot of experience learning. There's a whole series of learning things. And customer service and stuff like that. So look, let us get you on first, and you can have a really good look. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, thanks very much, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick question on the mandatory training checklist.
Yep.
So they, you know, obviously it'll be, but so I'll just ask. They are aligned to current NDIS standards, especially with the mandatories, you know, the expectation.
Yeah, the practice standards are, and it is aligned to that. And then what we do is say, we let in the mandatory one, you know, if you're a branch, you can have whatever you want. If you know, when people are buying them from me separately, one mandatory module at a time, I sell them for $59. But if you've got a branch, you can make your own. Yeah. You can have not only the mandatory stuff that we know is in the practice standards, you can put the stuff that is mandatory for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And that might be, you know, the same 14 that we do, or it might be 20 that you say, no, this is mandatory for our service.
Yeah. Okay.
And so did you want a trial, or are you already on one?
You are, I have to ask the boss.
You have to ask the boss. Fair enough.
The boss is online too, so we'll have a chat and then.
No worries. You just let us know. We'll sign you up and give you as much time as you need.
We probably will go with the trial, but we'll get back to you, Gina.
Yeah, it's good to have a look and see, and that way you can. That's why we give it to you, so you can see whether it's going to work for you.
Awesome.
So Gina, I can't actually find where I signed up to this particular little webinar thing. What's your contact details?
So my email is enquiry, ENQUIRY.
Yep.
At effectivepolicy.com.au. And yeah, so and I'll get Ali setting you up all on your own trial branches. And any questions, just let us know. If you're a bit stuck putting on a user or something like that, we'll put you in as a user to start with, each one of you.
Oh, that's what it would be. Yeah. So I can just click on that link I got to start the trial. Is that the easiest way for me to do that?
Yeah, I did follow up with that email and said, does anybody want to sign themselves up for a link? But look, why don't you wait and let Ali set you up in one instead of doing a self sign up? And anyone else there who wants a trial, just let Ali do it for you. And we know who's having a trial. We've got Martin, we've got, I know Sarah already has one. And I think it was Moini, you were going to let us know when you know. So that's easy. So it's the course price per assessment. However, many assessments are needed. If you're on the public system, if you get a private system, it's a bulk price. So, yeah, so if you went in through that public one, which just said $12, $12, $12, it will add up in the end, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than when you go to my website and you get a full service, module at $36. So I don't know. Yeah, so if you go and do your own purchasing and setting up, Sarah, it's a whole lot of work we don't have to do, and that's why we can do it cheaper. But when people are busy and they order modules, then we have to go in and sign up, you know, their 10 or 20 or 30 people for them. And that's why we charge a little bit more for that. And then there's the branch where you just pay your monthly fee and you never pay anything else again.
Okay.
So
Gina, if I've got the page set up and I add all my users in the relevant section there, do they get a login to log into the system? Is that
they
how it
sure
works?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
So they can see how they're going. They can just keep logging back in, do the courses that haven't been done, keep track of it, etc. Yeah, okay.
yes,
Good.
you can. And you've got those snapshots, you know, you've got the infographic in the 3 different display snapshots. You've got the Excel that you can download. And so you can just keep on popping in and having a look and see how they're going. But also what we do is we automate reports for you. You can automate them, but we're happy to do it too. We just send out, once you've got a bunch of users that come on and start taking courses, we immediately start a report that comes to you weekly and shows you their progress. So you can poke them with a stick.
Yep. Okay.
So
okay. Rightio. Well, I'll send an email off when I get a moment and get
All
set
right.
up on the 12. Thanks very much, Gina.
Lovely.
then.
Thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Sarah? Oh, that's good. And look, if you want, Sarah, if you want to spend some time with Ali, the branch is what I saw. The branch is the sign up that you did, Sarah. That's the branch means, basically it means your own LMS. It's just our language for that. So it means your own system. Just like we have autonomy over ours, you would too. Good, have a go at that. Any questions, let us know. Lovely to have you here. And you know, don't hesitate to reach out. Any more questions before we skedaddle? Alrighty. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks, Ali. I'll talk to you soon.